Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and I guess the 2020 F1 season kind of hype has slowly begun today, as earlier than expected, the Haas F1 team have launched and unveiled their car online digitally, a render of it. Of course, that does mean that this definitely won't be the final spec car that they bring to preseason testing. I'm sure they've left off a lot of bits and bobs off the car, but the livery nonetheless we can appreciate, and there are a few little bits, foundational bits of the car that they've changed design-wise from 2019 to 2020 that we can talk about. Obviously, it was a very tough time for them last season, but let's first of all just talk about the livery itself. I think it's the best one they've made so far since they came into the sport. Let me know what you guys think, but obviously last year we had a very dreary, very dark black and gold because of the whole Rich Energy fiasco. Obviously, that's kind of long gone, and behind them they've gone back to the roots of the Haas logo with the red, the kind of whitish silver, and the black. But the way they've done it this year, I think it really looks quite slick. A lot of people on Twitter have been likening it to like a Porsche kind of design, like a Porsche RSR or like a Porsche LMP1 kind of design car, which I get. Obviously, it's got actually that kind of very much when you look for it from the side views, very much that kind of way. But no, I really do rate it. It's got these really nice accents as well on the black parts of the front wing and the shark fin, where it goes from matte black to gloss, and then back with these kind of stripes as well. So just these little fine details I really enjoy. I think the only criticism for me, livery-wise, would be, I think, around where the Richard Mille logo is on the side view. They maybe could have added in a bit more of the white accents and red lines, perhaps, to make it just a little bit more colourful on the side profile. But from the front view and the kind of angle views, I think it looks very, very mean. And definitely, like I said, I think personally the best one they've made so far. Because the other ones kind of look like CNC milling machines, kind of very, almost like the Haas machines they have in America. And then obviously last year, like I said, was a pretty dreary one. So, no, well done, Haas. I really do enjoy it. Let's talk about the car itself, the actual design. Of course, last year was a torrid time for Haas, so they've really got to hope they can step up. And Good Steiner interviews have said that they hope that this year can be a return to what they had in 2018, where they finished 5th in the Constructors, which is quite a lofty ambition, I feel, because you've got the likes of Renault, McLaren really getting right back up there. And also, you've got to say probably Racing Point will end up being stronger than they were last year. So they're going to have a tough competition to get back up into 5th place, I would say. But they definitely made some big design changes that I think, could point them in the right direction, hopefully, in terms of development over the season. So as I've done so over the last few years, if you're new to the channel, I always do this thing where I kind of brighten up the photos and try and pick things out. It's been a long time since I graduated and did a degree in aerospace engineering, but I still have a little keen eye to a few little things that they've changed, basically, and you may miss them, basically, if you just look at the pictures as they are. So brightening them up in Photoshop and then kind of picking them out. So the first major thing for me at the very front end is Haas have finally kind of configured a proper S-duct inlet at the very front of their car. They did not have this last year. Last year their nose was very, very low. In this year they kind of heightened it a little bit with 2 inlets on either side of that nose, and then they've got the classic S-duct on the top, and they've actually done a bit more configuration on the actual barge board area itself, more so kind of ahead of the barge board, I guess. So I don't know really what you want to call it, the kind of, in the middle awkward area between the barge board and the kind of front suspension, basically trying to get that a bit more kind of copy to the McLaren style, actually, as you'll see in some more angle shot. The front wing itself, they've moved away from the design concept they had last year. Last year they had kind of a half and half. The most extreme sides were the Mercedes and Red Bull team, and then Ferrari and Alfa Romeo, and kind of you had teams like Haas and McLaren kind of operating in the middle between the two concepts of either kind of having the front wing loaded more of the outboard or the inboard, and both those extremes were deciding where they want to push the air more so kind of to the outside of the car or more towards the inside, and which way they want to go about it, whereas Haas had a middle way like McLaren. Like I said, they've moved away from that for now, so it seems like their front wing definitely looks a little bit more towards the Ferrari side and style, which is not surprising, because you've got to remember, Haas, obviously they take a lot of actual shared parts they're allowed to legally take from Ferrari, and in the past they've also taken just a lot of, basically hints from Ferrari's past cars. I think it was 2018, the 2018 car pretty much looked like a 2017 Ferrari, near enough. So yeah, not surprised they've taken some hints from Ferrari in that kind of way. They've also taken some inspiration from some of the other top teams, because their wing mirrors now look to be styled a lot more like the Red Bull team. They've got this casing kind of winglet above, but they kind of join it to the case, so legally it's just the wing mirror housing essentially, but they've obviously taken it to the extreme like some of the top teams did to try and get a little bit of an airflow manipulation going going around there, trying to create a little vortex that kind of lines up almost with the rear wing area. In terms of the rear wing, I've circled a lot of things going on here. If we just try and zoom in quite a lot, it's quite a high-res picture, actually, so thank you, Haas, for that. So the actual back end of the car, nothing like new and surprising in Formula 1. They've got this little winglet that will kind of channel air down towards the rear wing, so that kind of airflow that's flowing free at this height of the car will get affected by this little winglet here, and that little vortices will try and go to the rear wing at the top, and that will try and just essentially add some more air efficiency to that entire rear end. The actual shaft in itself is a little bit higher and taller than it had last year. You'll see that probably with every single car, because there's a rule this year that the FI wants you to have enough space to have the number of the car. So you're going to maybe see either people like Haas, where they've just got a bit of a deeper shaft in, or what McLaren did a lot of the time last year, where they have this little indent to have that number in. So it's not really going to be kind of advantage design-wise. It'll be just aesthetic-wise. They've just gone for that. And then just circling out little bits and details. Just really nice detailing, actually, on these renders. I'm surprised they didn't actually simplify this more, because they usually do, and they kind of keep all their secrets for pre-season. But I guess it's nothing new, I guess, at the rear end. It's the usual kind of thing. You have this usual overhang on the rear end. That's been the case and kind of a staple of F1 design ever since, I think, McLaren did it back in 2018, I think. Don't quote me on that. But bleeding air through from one side to the other of the rear wing. And then you've got the usual kind of vortices flicks up there, trying to chuck some air upwards, and so that they create a net downforce on the rear end. And also get some air away from the diffuser. That's also a main thing, getting air away from the diffuser. And that's the same thing here with the kind of rear wheel hub, is trying to create a bit of a vacuum seal between the two to create to make the diffuser as efficient as possible. And on the rear end, on the floor, I should say, I haven't circled it here, but they've definitely got some nice detailing of a lot of uprights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 uprights on the Haas here, trying to move air. You can see it's angled outward there, trying to get the air to a place where they can squirt it basically to the side of the tyres to try and improve the flow around there on the rear end, or trying to kind of create efficiency with the diffuser there, because there's a whole bunch of turbulent air, as you would expect, with the rear wheel spinning up, so they're all trying to make that as efficient as possible. But foundationally, the biggest things I think for me personally I can pick out is the kind of front end. The front wing itself is a different concept to what the one they did last year. Hopefully, like I said, one that they can develop a bit more. Last year, I feel like they kind of basically just stopped development halfway through the year because they realised foundationally their car wasn't great. So here's hoping for their sake this year, foundationally speaking, their car can actually be one they can work on and build upon to try and chase after that elusive P5 in the Constructors. Just quickly moving through some other angles just to give you some different perspectives of some of these differences in the car. In terms of the bargeboard area, they kind of got a McLaren-style wing that connects over and actually looks quite chunky from the aerial view. So I think they've kind of expanded upon that from what they had perhaps from last year. They kept the same actual bargeboard arrangement, and it's that same style that they kind of copied, like I mentioned, in 2018 from the 2017 Ferrari, and they've kind of kept it going for this entire time. I guess they feel like it's working for them in terms of their concept style, and the kind of dagger style system they have on the bargeboard has been retained from last year, which is quite unique actually, because no other team had so many slots and slits in the bargeboard as they did, especially the entire top way to the top. On the side view, you can just pick out the different details from a different angle, and I've kind of just circled this entire area. It's going to be very important for teams like Haas. I feel like this is really where the development war kind of is with F1 at the moment, because obviously you've got the rules that simplify the front wing, so all the aero war has kind of moved towards, firstly, getting the concept right at the front of either do you want the load on the inboard or the outboard, but then also how you're going to affect that air going downstream of the car, and so therefore the middle part is very, very important. So that entire area is going to be very important for Haas to develop, because I feel like they kind of missed out a little bit last year. And then just circling the usual things again, you can see from this angle, if I just move my mouse, basically the air free flowing at this height is going to get affected by this winglet. It's going to kind of move across. The shark fin itself will also try and keep the air straightened up in the corner as well when the car's moving about at different angles. I'll try and straighten the car as well and give some stability a little bit on the rear end, but not too much, just a tiny bit. And that's also going to keep the air straightened up to go to this area on the top of the rear wing. And then from this side, you can see the different intricacies of the little cut-ins on the rear wing. But apart from that, that's where my keen eye kind of runs out in terms of picking out things for the Haas. There might be some more that you might be able to see on some technical websites. But yeah, that's been the kind of like little reaction, I would say, and analysis to the Haas. Like I said, reiterating, I really do like the livery. Perhaps I could have added some more white here and there, potentially if we were being nitpicky, but overall, a massive improvement of last year, and I think the best one they made so far. But do let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let me know, do you think that kind of, Gunther Steiner quote of wanting to maybe return to 5th place is realistic? Do you reckon they'll be able to do it? Because I honestly don't, but maybe I'm being pessimistic. But potentially some of you guys are a bit more hopeful for that. If you're Haas F1 fans, if you're American fans, potentially, if you want them to do well, let me know in the comments below. Do you think it will be a year where they can truly bounce back like that? Because I think they had such a torrid time last year. I think it's hard to bounce back that quickly back to where they were in 2018. I think it's going to take them some time, especially at the start of the year. I think they'll realise that other midfield teams, like I mentioned, will have gained as much as they have, if not maybe a little bit more. So I think they will still have a struggle at the start of the season. But do let me know. But if you're new around here, do subscribe for more weekly Formula 1 content. And if you're new around here, I will be doing this kind of video for hopefully for every single car that launches. Obviously, there will be some timing issues with 2 cars launching on one day, but I'll try my best to get both of these out on the same day. So if you're new around here, do get subscribed for all that good stuff coming in the next 2 weeks as we build up towards pre-season testing. If you did enjoy this video though, and you did like the look of the Haas, then be sure to hit that like button. And like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. But till then, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.